Hi, Tim O'Donohue here with Relationship Store, and today I want to talk to you about how to not let your family drive you bonkers during this COVID-19 lockdown. So many of us are stressed, frustrated, a little scared with everything going on with the COVID-19, the coronavirus shutdown. First, I want to say to you, make sure you follow what's prescribed, even if you think it's an overreaction or whatever you might think. Just be careful. The virus does spread very quickly, so the less contact you have with others, the less chance it is of you catching it and of others catching it as well. Also, I just heard from a reputable source that a lot of the people who had more serious cases had ibuprofen in their system. So if you're taking a pain reliever, please try not to take the ibuprofen. Instead, take acetaminophen or aspirin. I'm not giving medical advice, but don't take the ibuprofen. Anyway, so I want to talk to you about how not to drive each other bonkers during this lockdown. So the first thing is acknowledge it out loud. Now, this might seem like an obvious thing, like we all know we're cooped up in this house, and whether there's two of you or four of you or eight of you or however many, you might start to get under each other's skin. In fact, you probably will. And so to acknowledge, you don't have to have necessarily a formalized meeting, but get everybody together and say, hey, this is, a stressful time. We're going to band together. We're going to be in the same quarters for a while. So we need to have, first of all, some organization, and also realize that from time to time, we're going to get angry and upset with each other. So you normalize it by saying it out loud. So then it actually helps with the blame part of it, which can be difficult. Instead of a lot of finger pointing, a lot of it can be attributed to the situation, which could make the frustrating interactions less volatile. So that's number one, acknowledge out loud. Number two is what I call a timeout. So this is where you agree, maybe at that same meeting you're having, that, hey, if any of us feels frustrated, we're going to blow our top or get angry or start yelling, we can take what's called a timeout. And what this is I'm going to walk into the other room. I'm going to take some time. I'm going to breathe, be away from it. So I'm going to walk away so I don't say things that I regret later or that are hurtful to people. Calm down. I'm going to think through the situation, and then I'll come back to it later. So sometimes it's difficult when one person leaves a room. The other person might feel like, hey, they're walking away from this conversation and they're not going to come back to it. So part of the agreement is that you will come back to it in a calmer way. Okay, so the timeout is the idea of knowing, identifying inside yourself when you feel triggered to that point where you might say something you regret, taking a break from it. And it's agreed upon with everybody. So there's no following into the other room. There's no chasing. There's no hollering at them as they're leaving. Hey, you're just running away. You allow them to have this break for their own centering to come back to it. And so number two is the timeout. Number three is appreciation and gratitude. This can happen during that timeout or at any time during the day when you think of it. Put your mind to things and people that you appreciate and have gratitude for. There are many things in your life, even during times that are stressful or times when you feel alone or cut off. Think of the things and people that you appreciate and just think about those for a while. And what you'll find is you can't not help your mood improve a little bit. So appreciation, if you do any sort of meditation or a mantra, something you repeat to yourself over and over, I appreciate my life, I appreciate my family, I appreciate the trees, whatever it might be, you can do during this time. So it's appreciation. So hopefully these three tips will get you started on not driving each other bonkers during however long this lockdown is. I do want to remind you to reach out to people, friends, family, others that you've met who maybe are alone, who don't have this challenge because they're on their own. So that brings up other sort of issues. And so make sure you reach out to them as you can. Let them know that they're cared about and that they're loved, and do what we can. So once again, Tim O'Donohue, and I hope you can acknowledge, take a time out, and appreciate. God bless, and have a great day.